Eggs seem harmless enough, cheap, familiar, and packed with protein. Nature's perfect little package. But for seniors, that simple shell can hide serious dangers, from salmonella outbreaks linked to massive factory farms to misleading labels that mask filthy conditions. Some egg brands are quietly putting your health at risk. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on 9 egg brands you should avoid and revealing the 2 that actually deserve your trust.
Coming in at number 9, Cal-Maine Foods. Cal-Maine Foods is the largest egg producer in the United States. Chances are you've bought their eggs without even realizing it. They sell under dozens of brand names found in everyday grocery stores: Farmhouse Eggs, Sun-Ups, Sunny Meadow, and even private store labels for major retailers. Altogether, Cal-Maine produces more than 1 billion eggs every single year. Let that sink in. 1 billion eggs.
Their promise sounds comforting. Fresh eggs from American farms. Wholesome, reliable, safe for your family. That's the message on the carton. That's what the marketing wants you to believe. But what inspectors uncovered tells a very different story. In April 2024, Cal-Maine issued a massive voluntary recall. Nearly 4 million eggs pulled from store shelves across multiple states. The reason? Salmonella contamination traced to one of their Texas facilities. While the outbreak was linked to a single farm, the eggs had already been shipped far and wide. Grocery stores in 9 states were unknowingly selling contaminated eggs to unsuspecting customers. For younger, healthy adults, salmonella can mean a miserable few days. Cramps, diarrhea, fever, rough but usually survivable. For seniors, it's far more dangerous. Adults over 65 are 4 times more likely to be hospitalized from salmonella infections, and the risk of death rises sharply with age. If you're managing high blood pressure, kidney disease, diabetes, heart problems, or a weakened immune system, a salmonella infection can escalate fast. What starts as stomach pain can spiral into bloodstream infections, organ failure, or worse. The real betrayal lies in the scale of Cal-Maine's operation. When one company controls so much of the egg supply and sells under so many different brand names, one contamination event can spread nationwide before alarms ever go off. You might think you're buying from different farms or companies, but in reality, those eggs may all come from the same facilities, carrying the same risks. And here's the part that should make you angry. Cal-Maine was aware of problems. Internal audits had flagged biosecurity issues months before the outbreak, yet production continued. Profits kept rolling in, and seniors across the country kept buying eggs they trusted were safe.
That golden yolk in your frying pan might look perfect. It might smell fresh, but dangerous bacteria are invisible. You can't see them. You can't smell them. You only discover them when you're doubled over in pain, wondering how something as simple as breakfast turned against you.
So why do the cheapest options so often come with the highest health risks?
At number 8, we have Hillendale Farms.
Hillendale Farms is another heavyweight in the American egg industry, operating enormous facilities across multiple states and producing millions of eggs every week. Their eggs appear under a variety of brand names at grocery stores, warehouse clubs, and even in institutional settings, hospitals, nursing homes, and schools, places where the most vulnerable people eat every day. Their branding tells a comforting story. Fresh, high-quality eggs from family farms. Their website shows green pastures, blue skies, and happy hens. It feels wholesome, traditional, almost nostalgic.
But inside their industrial facilities, the reality has been far darker.
Hillendale Farms was at the center of one of the largest egg recalls in U.S. history.
In 2010, the company was linked to a massive salmonella outbreak that sickened nearly 2,000 people nationwide.
When inspectors entered their Iowa facilities, what they found was disturbing. Dead hens left to rot in cages next to living birds still laying eggs. Rodents running freely through the barns. Manure piled so high it pushed through floorboards. The air was thick with ammonia, so overpowering that inspectors reportedly gagged while walking through the buildings. This wasn't a minor oversight. It was a systemic failure. And the people paying the price were everyday consumers, especially seniors, who trusted these eggs to nourish them, not harm them.
These were the conditions inside facilities producing eggs meant for American breakfast tables. According to FDA investigators, the problems weren't isolated mistakes, they were systemic failures. Sanitation procedures existed on paper, but in practice they were ignored. Biosecurity measures designed to stop contamination had been neglected for years. In that kind of environment, bacteria doesn't just survive, it thrives. Salmonella flourished in the filth. And for seniors, this isn't just gross, it's genuinely dangerous. Salmonella enteritidis can contaminate eggs before the shell is even fully formed, while the egg is still inside the hen. That means the bacteria is already inside the egg long before it reaches the carton. Washing the shell won't help. Inspecting for cracks won't help. The danger is hidden where you can't see it. For seniors with heart conditions, the risks are especially severe. A serious salmonella infection often causes intense vomiting and diarrhea, leading to rapid dehydration. That dehydration can disrupt the delicate balance of electrolytes your heart depends on to beat properly. If you're taking blood thinners or medications for heart rhythm issues, the situation can turn life-threatening fast. And yet, despite the massive 2010 outbreak, the inspections, and the public outrage, Hillendale Farms kept operating. Their eggs stayed on store shelves. The company paid fines, issued apologies, made promises, and then returned to business as usual. By 2023, additional FDA inspections uncovered ongoing problems at some Hillendale facilities. Temperature controls in storage areas were inconsistent. Egg washing procedures were improperly handled. Record keeping was so incomplete that tracing eggs back to specific hen houses during an outbreak became nearly impossible. The eggs in your carton may look flawless, smooth shells, rich golden yolks, but the invisible threat inside could send you to the hospital or worse. Most people are never taught how to protect themselves from this. Stay with us because we'll break it all down clearly at the end of the video. Now at number 7, Herbruck's Poultry Ranch. Herbruck's Poultry Ranch is based in Michigan and has been operating for more than 70 years. They present themselves as a family-owned company focused on quality, animal welfare, and responsible farming. Their website features smiling farmers, spotless facilities, and assurances of cage-free and organic options for health-conscious shoppers.
The image is comforting. A multi-generation American farm where standards matter and corners aren't cut. A place that takes pride in every egg it produces.
Herbruck's issued a voluntary recall after salmonella contamination was discovered at one of their facilities. By the time the problem was identified, millions of eggs had already been shipped to retailers across multiple states. They ended up in grocery stores, restaurant supply chains, and home kitchens, places where people trusted the food they were buying was safe. The recall covered eggs sold under the Herbruck's name, as well as numerous store-brand labels they supply. And that's the hidden danger with large producers. You might avoid a brand you don't trust, only to pick up a store label carton made in the exact same facility, under the exact same conditions, with the exact same risks. Federal investigators later found serious gaps in Herbrook's testing procedures. Eggs that should have been held back until test results were confirmed were instead shipped straight to market. By the time salmonella results came back positive, those eggs were already sitting in refrigerators across the Midwest, already being cooked, served, and eaten. For seniors managing chronic health issues, this kind of contamination can be devastating. Salmonella releases toxins that trigger powerful inflammatory responses throughout the body. If you're already dealing with inflammation from arthritis, heart disease, or autoimmune conditions, that added stress can overwhelm your system. Dehydration makes everything worse, especially for people taking diuretics to control blood pressure. These medications already lower fluid levels. Combine that with severe vomiting and diarrhea, and dangerous electrolyte imbalances can develop quickly. Potassium levels drop. Sodium levels swing. The heart struggles to maintain a steady rhythm. Emergency room doctors see this scenario all the time. An older patient arrives thinking they've caught a stomach bug. Within hours, they're in cardiac distress because a simple meal quietly knocked their entire system off balance. The real betrayal with Herbrook's isn't just the recall, it's the gap between image and reality. They charge premium prices for cage-free and organic eggs, quietly suggesting better quality and safer food. But salmonella doesn't care about buzzwords. Bacteria don't care about labels or how spacious the hen's living conditions were. When sanitation breaks down, contamination can happen anywhere. And when those failures happen at a large-scale producer, the fallout spreads fast. Entire regions are exposed. Thousands of people come into contact with contaminated eggs. Hundreds get sick, and seniors pay the highest price because aging immune systems simply don't recover the way younger ones do. Now at number 6, Rose Acre Farms. Rose Acre Farms is the second largest egg producer in the United States. Their facilities stretch across multiple states, supplying eggs to major grocery chains, restaurants, and food manufacturers. If you've eaten eggs in America, especially in baked goods or packaged foods, there's a very real chance they came from Rose Acre. The company brands itself as an industry leader, modern operations, strong safety standards, a commitment to quality for American families. That's the image they project when you reach for a carton on the shelf. But the company's track record tells a very different story. In 2018, Rose Acre Farms was forced to recall more than 200 million eggs, one of the largest egg recalls in U.S. history. The recall followed a salmonella outbreak that sickened over 35 people across multiple states, all traced back to a single facility in North Carolina. 200 million eggs! That's not a minor mistake. That's a breakdown at an industrial level. When FDA inspectors visited the facility, they found serious problems: rodent and pest activity, poor cleaning practices, and gaps in biosecurity measures that were supposed to stop contamination before it started. Basic sanitation had failed, and bacteria were allowed to spread. Consumers who got sick reported severe symptoms: bloody diarrhea, intense stomach cramps, and fevers that climbed to dangerous levels. For many, the illness dragged on for more than a week. For seniors and immunocompromised individuals, recovery took longer. Some ended up hospitalized. What makes Rose Acre especially concerning is the pattern. This wasn't a one-time incident. Over the years, the company has received multiple FDA warning letters. Inspectors have raised red flags again and again, yet production continued. Eggs kept moving. Cartons kept landing in stores. For seniors, the danger increases with every health condition you're already managing. Salmonella is particularly dangerous for people with kidney disease. The kidneys are already under strain, filtering toxins from the bloodstream. Add bacterial toxins from a severe infection, and you can push them into failure. Every carton looks the same. The shells feel normal. The yolks look rich when cracked open. But the contamination you can't see doesn't care about appearances. It doesn't check your age or your medical history before making you sick. So ask yourself, are recalls rare accidents or just the moments when companies finally get caught? At number 5, Great Value Eggs from Walmart. Great Value is Walmart's store brand, and its eggs are among the cheapest options in the store. For seniors living on fixed incomes, that low price is tempting. When you're stretching Social Security checks to cover groceries, prescriptions, and utilities, saving a few dollars feels necessary. Walmart promises quality at a lower cost. Their messaging suggests you're getting the same product as name brands, just without the markup. But that bargain comes with trade-offs. Great Value eggs are sourced from multiple large-scale suppliers, including some of the same producers already mentioned on this list. When you buy a Great Value carton, you often have no idea which farm or facility the eggs came from. There's little transparency and limited traceability, just a low price and the hope nothing went wrong along the way. Consumer complaints about Great Value eggs are surprisingly common. Online reviews mention watery, pale yolks, fragile shells that crack too easily, strong or unpleasant odors when the carton is opened. Some shoppers even report discoloration or strange spots inside the eggs, possible signs of poor handling or bacterial contamination. When food safety depends on luck, that's not a bargain, it's a gamble, one seniors can't afford to take.
The supply chain behind store-brand eggs is especially vulnerable to problems. Walmart works with whichever producers can meet its aggressive price targets, and that pressure often pushes suppliers to cut costs wherever they can. When profit margins are razor-thin, the corners that get cut are usually the ones that matter most.
Sanitation, testing, quality control. Inspections of facilities that supply store-brand eggs have uncovered troubling patterns. Breakdowns in temperature control during transport. Eggs left sitting on unrefrigerated loading docks for long stretches of time. Storage conditions that allow bacteria to multiply rapidly before the eggs ever reach the store. For seniors, every step in that chain is another chance for something to go wrong. By the time those eggs land in your refrigerator, they may have been mishandled multiple times. Any contamination may already be well established. The economic reality is harsh. The people least able to afford getting sick, seniors living on fixed incomes while managing multiple health conditions, are often the ones buying the cheapest eggs. And those budget options tend to carry the highest hidden risks. A single hospitalization for salmonella can cost tens of thousands of dollars. Even with Medicare, copays and deductibles add up quickly. The money saved at checkout disappears with one emergency room visit, long before you factor in the pain, the recovery time, or lasting damage to organs that were already under strain. If this information is helping you shop smarter and stay safer, hit subscribe. It's free, and it ensures you don't miss these investigations. The most important protection comes at the end of this video, so stay with me, the solution is coming. Now on to number 4, Eggland's Best. Eggland's Best has built its entire brand on the promise of being better than ordinary eggs.
Every shell is stamped with that familiar EB logo, meant to signal quality, nutrition, and trust. Their marketing highlights higher vitamin levels, added omega-3s, and reduced cholesterol and saturated fat. Eggs positioned as actively good for your health. For seniors concerned about heart disease and cholesterol, that message is powerful. These eggs cost more, but the benefits seem worth it. It feels like an investment in your long-term health.
The reality, however, is more complicated.
Eggland's best eggs come from hens fed a proprietary vegetarian diet. That diet does create some nutritional differences, but the improvements are modest. To see meaningful benefits from the added vitamins, you'd need to eat a large number of eggs consistently. More concerning are the safety questions. Eggland's Best sources eggs from a wide network of producers across the country. Some of those suppliers have faced contamination issues and inspection failures of their own. When you buy Eggland's Best, you're trusting not just the brand, but every facility in that supply chain, and some of those links are weaker than you'd expect from a premium label.
Consumer complaints have reported higher than expected occurrences of blood spots, meat spots, and other abnormalities. While these are usually not dangerous, they point to lapses in quality control, issues that can extend beyond cosmetic flaws. The bigger problem is the health halo effect. Seniors often trust Eggland's Best because of the health-focused branding. They feel safer, they let their guard down. But the risk of salmonella doesn't disappear. The potential for contamination is the same. That EB stamp doesn't magically protect an egg from bacteria. In fact, the higher price may create an indirect risk. People who pay more for better eggs are more likely to eat them soft-boiled or with runny yolks, assuming higher quality equals higher safety. But any undercooked egg, no matter how expensive or how nutritious the label claims it to be, can carry dangerous bacteria. For seniors taking cholesterol-lowering medications like statins, the balance between diet and medication is already delicate. A food-borne illness can disrupt that balance completely. Medications may not absorb properly while you're sick. Cholesterol levels can fluctuate unpredictably. Doctors may need to adjust doses, leading to weeks of instability. Premium branding creates a false sense of security, and that false confidence may be the most dangerous thing of all.
At number 3, Vital Farms. Vital Farms has positioned itself as the ethical choice for conscious shoppers. Pasture-raised hens, small family farms, transparent sourcing. Their cartons list the names and locations of partner farms, promising traceability all the way back to where the eggs were laid. On the surface, it sounds like exactly what careful consumers, and especially seniors, have been asking for. For seniors who remember what eggs used to taste like before factory farming took over, Vital Farms offers a powerful promise: a return to real flavor. Deep orange yolks, eggs that taste the way nature intended, and they price them accordingly. Vital Farms eggs cost far more than conventional options, sometimes 2 or even 3 times as much. You're paying for ethics, for quality, for peace of mind. But that peace of mind may come too easily. Vital Farms relies on a wide network of small partner farms, and that decentralized model creates its own risks. Each farm operates independently, with its own workers, routines, and room for mistakes. The same system that appeals to animal welfare-minded shoppers also creates more opportunities for problems to slip through unnoticed. In recent years, some partner farms have raised uncomfortable questions. Reports surfaced describing conditions that didn't fully match the idyllic images on the carton. Hens with limited outdoor access, pastures that turned muddy and bare during parts of the year.
The truth is, pasture-raised farming is messy, and the reality doesn't always match the marketing.
There's also a hidden risk in pasture-raised eggs that rarely gets talked about, especially for seniors. Hens that spend time outdoors are exposed to wild birds, rodents, and other animals. Those animals can carry diseases, including avian influenza and harmful bacteria. The same outdoor access that feels more natural also increases exposure to contamination.
Avian influenza has devastated poultry operations across the U.S. in recent years, leading to the culling of millions of birds. In theory, eggs from infected flocks never reach stores. In reality, outbreak response is chaotic. Testing can't always keep pace, and some contaminated products inevitably slip through the cracks.
The premium price of Vital Farms eggs also affects how people cook them. You don't spend $8 a dozen just to cook them until they're rubbery. Most people want to enjoy them gently, sunny side up, soft poached, with runny yolks that show off the color and flavor they paid for. But undercooking eggs increases the chance that any bacteria present survives.
For seniors with weakened immune systems, the equation changes. Fully cooked eggs with firm whites and firm yolks are the safest option. Yet when you're paying premium prices, the temptation to prioritize taste over safety is strong. Have you ever noticed how the prettiest packaging often hides the biggest risks?
At number 2, Happy Egg Company.
Happy Egg Company entered the market with bright orange cartons and an irresistible message: happy hens, beautiful eggs, and feel-good farming. Free-range, heritage breed eggs that promise better taste and a better conscience. The branding is expertly crafted to make you feel good long before you crack the shell. For seniors, that emotional pull matters. You want your food choices to reflect your values. You want to support humane farming, and if that comes with better flavor and nutrition, all the better. Happy Egg has grown fast, expanding from a niche import into a major player in American grocery stores. Their eggs now sit alongside conventional brands nationwide. But rapid growth brings new challenges, especially when it comes to consistency and oversight. As the brand expanded, consumer complaints began to rise. Shoppers report uneven quality. Some cartons contain rich, vibrant eggs. Others feel no different from bargain brands. Complaints about fragile shells that crack too easily. Concerns about freshness, with some customers surprised by how old the egg seemed given the premium price. And then there's the free-range label itself. It sounds reassuring, but USDA standards for free range are minimal. Hens only need to have access to the outdoors. There are no requirements for how much space they get, how often they go outside, or what those outdoor areas look like. In practice, free range can mean a small door leading to a patch of concrete that many birds never use. Happy Egg says it exceeds those standards, but independent verification is limited. In the end, you're relying more on marketing promises than on rigorous third-party oversight. And when it comes to food safety, trust without verification can be a risky bet, especially for seniors. Happy Egg's rapid expansion raises another red flag: sourcing. As demand has surged, the company has had to bring on more partner farms, more facilities, and more moving parts. And the more complex a supply chain becomes, the harder it is to control. When operations scale this quickly, something almost always slips through the cracks. For seniors managing diabetes, this inconsistency matters more than most people realize. Blood sugar control depends on predictable nutrition. When egg quality varies from carton to carton, the protein and fat content you're counting on may not be consistent. That unpredictability can quietly sabotage your meal planning and medication timing. There's also a psychological trap tied to the premium price. When you spend more, you want to believe it was worth it. That emotional investment can make it easier to ignore warning signs, an odd smell, a strange texture, something that doesn't seem quite right. Red flags that might stop you cold with cheaper eggs suddenly feel easier to dismiss.
The smiling hens on the carton may be laying eggs in conditions very different from what the marketing suggests, and you have no real way of knowing until something goes wrong.
What's the worst egg you've ever cracked open? Drop your story in the comments below.
Now, coming in at number 1, Nellie's Free Range.
Nellie's free-range eggs have become a go-to choice in health-conscious homes across the country. The brand highlights humane treatment, certified humane standards, and a commitment to doing things the right way. Their cartons feature a friendly cartoon hen and promises of eggs from small family farms.
It's a comforting story. After seeing the worst of industrial egg farming, the founders set out to do better. Hens with room to roam, farmers who care, eggs you can feel good about eating.
For seniors who've watched the food system change over decades, who remember when eggs came from real farms, not massive industrial complexes, Nellie's feels like a return to something authentic, something safer, something you can trust.
But is that trust fully earned?
Nellie's has faced questions about whether their practices truly match their marketing. The Certified Humane label does come with standards, but those standards still allow practices many consumers would find surprising. Outdoor access can be limited. Barns can still be crowded. Even under humane certifications, commercial egg production involves compromises that aren't always obvious on the carton.
From a safety perspective, the supply chain raises bigger concerns. As Nellie's has grown, so has its network of partner farms. Each additional farm brings different conditions, different procedures, and another potential weak point where things can go wrong.
Free-range farming, while better for animal welfare, creates unique food safety challenges. Outdoor access means exposure to wild birds and other animals that can carry disease. Weather plays a role too. Rain and mud can turn outdoor areas into breeding grounds for bacteria. The peaceful pasture pictured on the carton doesn't show the muddy, messy reality many farms face during parts of the year.
For seniors with heart conditions, food poisoning is more than an inconvenience, it's a serious threat. Violent vomiting, severe dehydration, and the body-wide inflammation caused by bacterial infection put enormous strain on the cardiovascular system. During and after a serious foodborne illness, the risk of cardiac events rises sharply.
What's especially important to understand is this. The labels on Nellie's cartons, certified, humane, free range, all of it, focus on how the hens are treated. They say nothing about food safety testing, nothing about contamination prevention, nothing about the risks that matter most to seniors trying to protect their health.
You can feel good about animal welfare and still end up dangerously sick from contaminated eggs. The two issues are separate, and the marketing rarely makes that clear.
Why do you think the FDA still allows practices that other countries have already banned?
And now the moment you've been waiting for, the eggs that are actually worth your trust.
The first safe option is Kirkland's Signature Organic Eggs from Costco. After everything we've covered, it's fair to wonder whether any eggs are truly safe. The answer is yes, but only if you know where to look. Kirkland's Signature Organic Eggs from Costco stand out as one of the safest egg options available in the United States, and they earn that distinction for good reason. Costco applies unusually strict quality standards to anything sold under the Kirkland Signature name.
Unlike retailers that simply accept what suppliers deliver, Costco takes an active role. They audit their producers, require independent testing, and enforce standards that often go beyond basic FDA requirements.
The organic certification matters too. Kirkland eggs come from hens fed organic feed, free from antibiotics and pesticides. But from the safety standpoint, the bigger advantage is oversight. Organic facilities supplying Costco are subject to more frequent and more rigorous inspections than conventional egg operations.
Just as important is Costco's leverage. Few retailers have the buying power or the backbone to demand better practices from suppliers. Costco does. And when a producer fails to meet Kirkland standards, Costco doesn't hesitate to walk away. That accountability forces suppliers to maintain real quality instead of cutting corners to save money. For seniors, several factors make Kirkland eggs especially reassuring. The supply chain is shorter and tightly controlled. Eggs move directly from producer to Costco warehouses and then to your home, with fewer handling points and fewer opportunities for mistakes. Temperature control is carefully maintained. Freshness is a priority, not an afterthought.
Costco's entire business model depends on trust. Membership-based, high-volume, and loyalty-driven, the company simply cannot afford a major food safety scandal. A single outbreak linked to Kirkland products would do enormous damage to their reputation. That reality pushes Costco to invest heavily in food safety behind the scenes. And you can see the results when you open the carton. Strong shells, rich, vibrant yolks, a clean, fresh smell. The consistency speaks for itself.
If you shop at Costco, Kirkland's signature organic eggs should be your go-to choice. The balance of safety, quality, and fair pricing makes them a clear winner, especially for health-conscious seniors.
The second brand, truly worth your trust, is Pete & Gerry's Organic Eggs. Pete & Gerry's has built its reputation the careful way. Founded in New Hampshire by a family with real farming roots, the company resisted the urge to grow fast and cheap. Instead, they focused on doing things right.
What sets Pete & Gerry's apart is their genuine commitment to small farms. They don't just use family farm language for marketing. They actually partner with small operations, primarily across the Northeast, and maintain direct, hands-on relationships with each farm. Their eggs carry multiple certifications: USDA Organic, Certified Humane, and Non-GMO Project Verified. But certifications only matter when they're enforced. Pete & Gerry's welcomes independent audits and maintains a level of transparency that many larger brands avoid. For seniors, that smaller, tightly managed network makes a real difference. Fewer farms mean fewer unknowns. Each facility follows documented practices, undergoes regular testing, and is held accountable to Pete & Gerry standards. When issues arise, as they inevitably do in any food system, they can be identified and addressed quickly because the supply chain is manageable.
Their food safety record reflects that approach. While no egg producer can promise zero risk, Pete & Gerry's has avoided the massive recalls and repeated contamination events that have plagued larger competitors. Their scale allows for a level of oversight industrial producers simply can't match.
And again, the quality shows. Consistently fresh eggs, firm whites, deep golden yolks, eggs that taste the way eggs are supposed to taste before mass production lowered the bar. Yes, Pete & Gerry's eggs cost more than conventional options, but for seniors who prioritize health and safety, that extra cost is an investment, not a splurge. You're paying for real quality control, not just polished marketing. You're buying peace of mind that's actually earned. These two brands, Kirkland's Signature Organic Eggs and Pete & Gerry's Organic Eggs, represent the safest choices in today's American egg market.
They focus on what truly matters for food safety, not just what looks good on a carton.
Not all eggs are created equal. Some can quietly put your health at serious risk. Now you know which 9 brands to leave behind and which 2 deserve a place in your kitchen. Your protection starts with the choices you make at the grocery store. Subscribe now. And if you're watching on TV, tap your remote so you're never caught off guard again.